I've started a new channel called Lanila Tales. Please subscribe and watch my best stories there. Link is in the description. The jungle did not roar, it screamed. Trees shook as a small, furious creature launched itself at a towering alien soldier, biting into its metallic boot like it was made of tofu. Plasma shots cracked in the air, the soldier shrieked in a language not meant for human ears, and yet the creature did not flinch. It was barely 2 feet tall, covered in ragged gray fur, and eyes that declared war on existence itself. That was the moment the alien army realized the jungle was not empty and Earth was no silent planet begging to be conquered. It had guardians, and one of them was a honey badger with a death wish. 2 hours earlier, the alien craft sliced silently into Earth's atmosphere, reflecting the moonlight like a blade drawn across the sky. The ship glided above the vast green roof of the Amazon rainforest before disappearing into a plume of mist over the treetops. Inside that craft, Commander Zylok of the Varnak Legion studied a holographic map of Earth with folded arms and an unimpressed face. Primitive planet, weak creatures, no organized defenses. He smirked as his soldiers prepared to descend. Their mission was simple. Secure a base. Collect samples. Begin Phase 1 of planetary takeover. Nothing about a 2-foot missile of pure chaos was mentioned in the plan. The drop pods fell like steel raindrops, burying themselves deep into the muddy soil. Alien soldiers emerged in perfect formation, scanning the environment. Lush green vines. Distant howls. Buzzing insects. No signs of intelligent resistance. They activated their camouflage towers. Within minutes, their base was invisible, blending into the foliage perfectly. The jungle, to them, was no different from a giant buffet of biomass and oxygen. They had fought wars on planets made of lava and ice. Earth was a vacation. Private Sarn, a rookie with shaky claws, was assigned to scan local wildlife. He wandered a bit too far from the group and noticed something odd. Claw marks on a nearby tree. Not large like a jaguar. Not delicate like a monkey. They were deep, deliberate, and accompanied by a pile of broken beehives. He scanned it with his wrist device. The translation flashed unknown species. Aggressive. Likes honey. He shrugged and moved on. That was his first mistake. At twilight the jungle shifted. Birds grew silent. Leaves trembled even without wind. The aliens, though trained for warfare, began to feel an unease they could not categorize. Something watched them. Not with fear, but with irritation that someone had touched its stuff. Commander Zylok dismissed the tension. You fear the trees now, he grunted. A soldier replied, Sir, the trees just moved without wind. Zylok waved him off. Then it appeared. Strutting between 2 towering kapok trees, a honey badger with dried honey stuck to its fur and a face that said, I woke up to bite someone today. It stopped a few steps from the alien's campfire, sniffed the air, and sat like it owned the forest. The soldiers stared at it. Sarn whispered, Is that a predator or a rat? The honey badger blinked slowly, as if deciding who to kill first. One alien tried shooing it away with a stick. The stick was snapped in half, and the honey badger held the broken piece like a tiny spear. Nervous laughter spread. Someone muttered, Harmless creature. That was their second mistake. Plasma sparks flew as one soldier fired a warning shot. The bolt hit the ground, scorching the soil. The honey badger looked at the smoking earth, then at the alien, as if deeply offended. It launched forward with shocking speed, climbed up the soldier's leg, punched his helmet with its tiny paws, and ripped out a glowing plasma pistol with its teeth. The alien screamed, the rest pulled out weapons, and chaos followed. Blasts illuminated the trees. Vines burned. Birds erupted into the sky. But in the middle of that firefight, the small creature zigzagged like a furry bullet, dodging lasers with uncanny precision. It bit through wires, chewed on alien armor, and hissed like a kettle left on fire. One soldier cried, It stole my weapon. Another shouted, How does it know where to bite? Commander Zylok ordered, Eliminated immediately. Too late. The honey badger, now with a plasma pistol dangling from its mouth, bolted into the underbrush. A nearby supply crate exploded moments later. The alien base lights flickered and went dark. For the first time in his career, Commander Zylok felt something unfamiliar. Dread. The jungle grew loud again with croaks, buzzing, and mocking laughter of distant monkeys. Something ancient had awakened. Something small, violent, and extremely annoyed. The aliens gathered around the damaged crate, staring at the tiny footprints leading into the dense trees. Tracks of defiance. Tracks of war. Captain Vorash whispered to Zylok, "Sir, should we report this to High Command?" Zylok clenched his jaw. "Report that a honey-eating creature destroyed our equipment. Do you want to be demoted to Asteroid Patrol?" Vorash shut up instantly. But deep down, every soldier knew this was just the beginning. Far away, atop a mossy rock, the honey badger watched them with quiet satisfaction. Behind it buzzed a swarm of bees, orbiting like loyal soldiers. It spat out a piece of alien tech, snorted, and vanished into the darkness. The jungle accepted it back like a heartbeat. The aliens believed Earth was empty, weak, waiting. They were wrong. And the forest was about to teach them a lesson in the most painful way possible. Rumors spread through the alien camp like wildfire, though none dared to speak them aloud when Commander Zylok was near. The soldiers walked with extra caution, glancing nervously into the treeline whenever a twig snapped or a leaf rustled. The honey badger's midnight assault was still fresh in their minds. The damaged supply crate, charred earth, and stolen plasma pistol were physical proof that something in the jungle had declared war on them. Zylok maintained a cold silence, convinced that fear was more dangerous than any tiny creature. He insisted the threat was laughable. Yet whenever the wind howled through the trees, he subconsciously reached for his sidearm. Several miles away, Maya Ortega tightened her worn hiking boots and slung her rifle over her shoulder. She was a forestry ranger and had grown up near the Amazon. She had seen jaguars, river anacondas, and storm floods, but nothing explained the scorched patches of ground and chunks of metal she found near the riverbank earlier that morning. They looked like pieces of machinery, but not from any logging company or scientific team she knew. Her radio crackled with static when she tried contacting the headquarters. She muttered to herself that the jungle was hiding something again. Just as Maya was inspecting a strange burnt marking on the soil, she heard buzzing. Not the usual bee swarm sound, but a deeper, rhythmic vibration, like wings beating in unison with purpose. She followed it, and froze behind a tree. In the clearing stood the notorious creature she had only seen in local legends and blurry forest camera photos. A honey badger, its fur matted with dried honey, stood beside a giant beehive it had apparently rescued. Multiple bees circled it in calm formation, yet none stung. The creature gave the beehive a gentle nudge back toward a higher branch, then sniffed the air with piercing suspicion. Maya blinked twice. She had heard stories of Grit Fong, a lone honey badger said to be immortal, unkillable, and absolutely insane. She always laughed at the myths. Now she stopped laughing. Back at the alien base, Private Sarn replayed footage on his datapad from the previous night's chaos. The image of the honey badger leaping at Vorash, plasma pistol clenched between razor-sharp teeth, looked faded and shaky but real. His alien comrades huddled around him, eyes wide. The translator drone attempted to label the creature. It displayed Earth's species Mellivora capensis, locally known as honey badger. Subclassification based on tribal reports forest demon Grit Fong. The entire squad sighed in disbelief as the drone continued. Warning: this creature has no natural fear response. Known to attack lions, vehicles, and weather changes. One soldier spat out his drink upon hearing weather changes. Commander Zylok entered the tent unexpectedly, and the group snapped upright. Enough, he growled. We are soldiers of the Varnak Legion, not children frightened by rodents. He ordered scouting squads to search for the creature and track any human presence nearby. To Zylok, humans were a bigger threat than any savage animal. If they discovered the alien camp, the mission could be compromised. Yet deep down, a small part of him still remembered the burning crate and the creature standing amidst flames, snarling like a demon of the undergrowth. As night approached again, the honey badger wandered deeper into the forest. It dragged the stolen plasma pistol using its teeth and occasionally whacked it against rocks, trying to understand why it glowed and buzzed. A monkey watched from a tree and chattered. The honey badger glared, and the monkey immediately stopped. Nearby, tucked between roots and stones, was the badger's hidden cave filled with odd trophies. Broken beehives, shiny stones, half-eaten fruits, and now, alien tech pieces. It stashed the pistol inside and curled up on a mossy bed while bees lingered at the entrance like sentries. Maya returned home but could not sleep. Her walls were covered in photographs of rare animals and sketches of local myths passed down by tribal elders. She remembered an old man telling her, "The jungle chooses its protectors, not the other way around." She scribbled notes in her journal about scorched trees, metal fragments, and a honey badger with followers of bees. She felt ridiculous writing it, yet she could not deny what she saw. Meanwhile, the aliens sent out drones to patrol the forest. One of them hovered too close to the honey badger's burrow. The bees attacked it like tiny missiles, stingers scraping against metal. The drone tried to zap them with its electric pulse, only to short-circuit as honey smeared over its vents. The machine spiraled and crashed into a mud pit. The honey badger emerged, glanced at the smoking drone, and snorted approvingly before dragging it into its collection. Private Sarn hesitated to report the destroyed drone to Zylok, fearing another punishment. Instead, he confided in Captain Vorash, who sighed and rubbed his forehead. "This is absurd," he muttered. "We are losing equipment to a mammal that weighs less than a combat helmet." Vorash proposed setting up bait using leftover rations and synthetic honey. The plan was to lure the honey badger into a containment cage. The squad placed the trap near a riverbank, unaware that 3 curious monkeys watched from above. The honey badger arrived but not alone. The monkeys followed at a distance, whispering and pointing. The badger approached the cage, sniffed the air, and noticed a faint scent of oil and alien metal. It side-eyed the trees, then simply walked around the trap, tipped it over with a grunt, and took the rations. The trap door snapped shut, capturing nothing but air. A monkey laughed, slipped, and fell directly onto Sarn's head from a branch. Humiliation spread among the alien ranks as word of the failed trap circulated. Zylok nearly crushed his helmet in frustration. He authorized the use of a tranquilizer gun but warned, "No plasma. We capture it alive and move on." The alien soldiers nodded even though none truly believed this would go smoothly. The forest at dawn felt heavier than before. Mist coiled around the roots, and birds sang cautiously. Something was shifting in the balance of the jungle. The honey badger, licking honey off its paws, paused and raised its head toward the alien camp. For reasons even it did not fully understand, it knew this was far from over. It did not roar, did not howl. It simply narrowed its eyes, and the jungle seemed to whisper around it. War had not been declared with words, but with stolen weapons, broken traps, and the scent of fear lingering in the air. Maya Ortega had seen strange things in the jungle, but nothing compared to what she found near the river the following morning. Lying half submerged in the water was a chunk of metal larger than her torso, glowing faintly with blue lines that pulsed like veins. It was too smooth to be human-made, too advanced to be scrap. She crouched, touching it cautiously. It was warm, humming with an energy she could not explain. As she examined it, she heard a splash behind her. Turning quickly, she raised her rifle, only to see a capybara staring blankly at her. The oversized rodent blinked once, then waddled away like this was all perfectly normal. Maya sighed. Even the wildlife acted like nothing surprised them anymore. In a lab cluttered with books and coffee-stained papers miles away, Dr. Rohit Mehra squinted at the blurry image on his laptop sent anonymously to his email. It showed a creature in midair, teeth sunk into what looked like an alien boot. He was a former astronomer once mocked for claiming extraterrestrial life had eyes on Earth. He recognized the metal and symbols on the boot. They were not from any country. He grabbed his satchel, stuffed in a camera, batteries, and his old field recorder, and muttered to himself, "This is it." He set off toward the Amazon, desperate to prove he was right. Back in the alien camp, tension crept through the air like fog. Commander Zylok paced around the holographic map, watching red dots indicating his patrol's return with no success and more embarrassment. 2 more drones had gone missing. One returned in pieces, covered in honey, bite marks, and a banana peel stuck to its sensor. Private Sarn swore the monkeys were mocking them by throwing fruit whenever they passed under trees. The jungle itself seemed to mock them. Vines twisted into strange shapes. Tools disappeared. Food supplies were scattered, and someone reported finding alien armor with flowers tucked into it. Captain Vorash, more logical than most, pulled Sarn aside. This is not random. Something out there is watching us. Studying us. Sarn gulped and whispered, "You mean the creature?" "No," Vorash answered quietly. "The creature is just the beginning." At the edge of the jungle, Maya met Dr. Mera for the first time after nearly running him over with her jeep. He scrambled up from the dirt, brushing leaves off his shirt, while holding his camera protectively. "You nearly ended world discovery," he complained. "You nearly ended my bumper," she replied flatly. Despite the awkward start, they both knew they were chasing the same mystery. Maya showed him the glowing metal. Dr. Mera stared at it like it held the universe. "This is alien," he whispered. "Real alien." Maya nodded cautiously and said, "And I think something else knows about them too. A honey badger." Dr. Mera blinked twice. "You are joking." She did not smile. He closed his mouth. Together they ventured deeper into the forest. Dr. Mera recorded everything, from broken trees to soot on the grass to claw marks on alien metal. Maya led with silent steps, her hand never far from her rifle. They found footprints, alien ones, with 3 clawed toes and heavy impressions. Near those tracks were smaller prints, 4-toed, messy, and fearless. Honey badger. The prints walked through mud, over alien tech, sometimes right on top of alien boot marks. As if it did not care. Near the honey badger's burrow, the air smelled like honey, smoke, and metal. Maya motioned for silence as they crouched behind a log. The creature emerged, dragging a broken drone part, muttering a low growl that sounded like an annoyed sigh. Dr. Mera clicked his camera and whispered, "Incredible." The honey badger paused, turned its head, and stared directly at them. Maya held her breath. The creature did not attack. Instead, it dropped the drone, snorted at them as if to say, "Do not do anything stupid," and disappeared back into its den. Before they could process what happened, a shrill alien alarm echoed through the forest. Maya and Mera ducked as 3 alien soldiers stomped into the clearing, scanning for their missing drone. They wore metallic armor and carried weapons that glowed faintly. Their language was harsh, clicking and hissing. Mera covered his mouth to muffle a gasp. One of the aliens found honey tracks leading straight to the den. He reached for a tranquilizer launcher when a buzzing sound grew louder. Bees swarmed out from the trees. Not random, but coordinated. They stung relentlessly at the alien's exposed skin, forcing them to stumble back. The honey badger charged out again, bit the boot of the lead alien, and yanked him off his feet. The other 2 fired warning shots, but vines above snapped and dropped a heavy log on their heads. Maya stared. Mera whispered, "That animal has strategy." The aliens scrambled away, leaving their weapons. The honey badger did not chase. It instead picked up a shiny piece of tech, inspected it, and waddled into the bushes. The bees followed like disciplined soldiers. Maya and Mera stepped out slowly. Mera whispered in awe, "I do not think it is just an animal." Maya nodded. "It is a protector." That night, the alien soldiers sat around dim lamps, silent and bruised. Commander Zylok glared at the jungle through his visor. He finally spoke, "This is no ordinary planet. There is intelligence here beyond humans." His second-in-command asked, "Should we retreat?" Zylok clenched his fist. "No. We adapt. We capture the creature. And if humans interfere, we remove them." In the deeper dark of the forest, animals gathered near the honey badger's den. A jaguar lay on a branch above. Monkeys perched quietly. Bees formed a living curtain at the entrance. Inside, the honey badger rested, one paw on the alien pistol, eyes half closed but ears alert. It had no titles, no medals, but the jungle breathed with it, as though it were its pulse and fury. Maya and Dr. Mera set up a small camp under the stars. Their fire crackled softly. Mera stared into the flames and whispered, "If aliens are here, governments need to know." Maya shook her head. "Not yet. If humans rush in, they will burn this forest to find them. And something out there is already fighting to protect it." Mera looked at her curiously. "Who?" Maya glanced into the dark where two glowing eyes watched silently. "A honey badger with an attitude problem." The night deepened. The jungle whispered secrets. And somewhere in the alien camp, plans were being drawn. Not just for conquest, but for war against a creature no bigger than a backpack and far more dangerous than any army expected. The air in the jungle felt charged, as if even the leaves were holding their breath. Commander Xylox stood at the edge of the alien encampment, his armor dusted with dirt and frustration. He sent a message to the Varnak command ship orbiting Earth. Reinforcements were requested. Not because the enemy was powerful in numbers or technology, but because they were losing to humiliation. Whispered tales of the honey badger spread through the ranks faster than discipline could contain them. They called it the forest demon, the metal thief, the honey-soaked terror. They laughed when no officers were around, but their eyes held a quiet fear. Maya and Dr. Mera were now days into their investigation. Their camp was modest, hidden under thick vines to avoid alien detection. Dr. Mera spent hours scribbling notes and ranting to his audio recorder about alien technology, while Maya sharpened her machete and cleaned her rifle. Mera spoke between hurried breaths about how this creature was not a normal animal. Honey badgers did not coordinate bees, trip drones, and steal plasma guns. Maya nodded silently. Her instincts whispered that the honey badger knew more than it revealed. That it was not fighting for honey or territory, but something deeper. Just before dawn, a rumble echoed through the sky. Alien dropships pierced the clouds, their metallic bodies reflecting the pale sun. Reinforcements. They landed in a clearing near the main base, flattening trees like matchsticks. Commander Xylox greeted the newcomers with a tight jaw. Among them was General Krythar, a stern figure with scars carved across his mandibles. He listened to Xylox's report with a stare sharp enough to cut steel. "You are losing to wildlife," he said flatly. Xylox's fists clenched. "This creature is no ordinary beast." Krythar turned to the soldiers. "Then hunt it, study it, and end it." The aliens expanded their camp, installing pulse fences that crackled with energy, cameras hidden in tree trunks, and traps baited with honey and alien rations. The jungle did not take kindly to this intrusion. Parrots squawked insults. Monkeys threw stones, fruit, and sometimes their own droppings. A capybara wandered into the camp, sat on a plasma cable, and caused a minor explosion that took down a quarter of their power grid. Xylox screamed orders while soldiers scrambled to fix the chaos. The honey badger watched from a nearby rock unimpressed. Beside it, bees hovered like loyal guardians. That morning, it gathered its odd little army. A jaguar with scarred fur slinked quietly behind it. A group of capuchin monkeys chattered in excitement. A sloth hung from a branch, chewing leaves, eyes half open but listening. Even a group of toucans perched nearby, heads tilted with curiosity. It was not an army in the traditional sense. It was a gathering of creatures tired of seeing their home invaded. Maya and Dr. Mera followed at a distance, careful not to disturb the strange council. Mera whispered into his recorder that the honey badger appeared to be strategizing. He nearly fainted when the sloth raised a slow hand and pointed at a map of sticks drawn in the dirt by the badger. Maya remained silent, her hand resting near her rifle, unsure whether she was witnessing brilliance or madness. That night, the assault began. It did not start with roaring or violence. It began with bees. Thousands of them. They swarmed the alien fuel pods, seeping honey into vents and burning holes through containment seals. When the power grid flickered, monkeys flew into action. They swung from cables, cutting wires and stealing shiny gadgets. One monkey wore an alien helmet and chattered triumphantly before running into a tree. Jaguar shadows slithered between tents, slashing at cables, stealing food supplies, and dragging away equipment. The honey badger attacked directly. It charged through the camp with the stolen plasma pistol clenched in its jaws, blasting randomly and biting anything that moved. One alien screamed, "I think it knows our weapon better than we do." Another shouted, "It bit my communicator. Why does it taste everything?" In the chaos, Maya and Mara slipped into the back of the alien camp. They found an entrance to a metallic structure embedded into a cliff, partially disguised by foliage. Mara whispered in disbelief. "This is their research bunker." Inside, flickering screens revealed schematics, Earth maps, and containment pods. One pod had claw marks deep across the surface. Maya leaned closer. Inside lay a skeleton. Not human. Not alien. Something in between. She felt a chill crawl down her spine. General Krythar emerged behind them, pointing a plasma rifle. "Enough," he snarled. "You humans have seen too much." Maya raised her hands slowly, eyes sharp. Before Krythar could fire, a low growl echoed through the bunker. The honey badger stood at the entrance, bloodied, furious, and very much alive. Krythar scoffed. "You again." The honey badger charged. Krythar fired. The plasma beam struck the wall. The honey badger leapt, claws glowing from stolen alien energy, and slashed Krythar's weapon in half. Maya used the distraction to slam a metal rod against Krythar's head. He staggered but did not fall. The badger tackled him again, hissing like a kettle about to explode. Outside, the battle continued. Alien mechs fired into trees, only to topple as vines pulled their legs out from under them. Beehives dropped from branches onto helmets. A sloth, surprisingly fast when annoyed, pressed a button on an alien console, triggering their alarm system. Mara laughed uncontrollably before Maya dragged him out of the bunker. The jungle glowed with fires and flickering neon lights from damaged alien tech. Animals roared, screeched, or simply glared with annoyance. The honey badger, panting heavily, stood atop a damaged alien rover. Krythar lay unconscious. Xylux stared at the sight, feeling something break inside his pride. "Retreat," he whispered to no one. "Retreat." But far above, the Varnak command ship watched. A cold voice transmitted to Xylox's communicator. "Failure is not tolerated. Prepare the superweapon. Burn the forest if necessary." Xylox looked toward the stars, his eyes filled with dread. In the distance, the honey badger licked blood from its paw and stared at the sky as if it knew something bigger was coming. The jungle fell silent, bracing itself. War was no longer a game of traps and honey. Something far worse was on its way. Smoke from the night battle clung to the treetops like a ghost refusing to leave. The air was thick with the smell of scorched metal, burnt leaves, and honey. Alien soldiers worked silently at dawn, repairing shattered equipment, gathering their wounded, and building a new defensive perimeter. No one laughed or boasted now. The jungle had beaten them in ways no army ever had. Commander Xylox walked among his troops in silence, jaw tight, knowing every pair of eyes followed him with questions he could not answer. Above them, hidden behind clouds, the Varnak command ship loomed like a silent judge waiting to bring fire. Maya and Dr. Mara retreated deep into the forest after the battle. They found temporary shelter in an abandoned miner's bunker, now overtaken by moss and vines. Maya tended to a gash on her arm while Dr. Mara paced nervously. They both knew the aliens were planning something bigger. Mara broke the silence. "They are going to burn the forest, wipe everything to hide their failure." Maya tied the bandage tighter and said quietly, "Then we need more than a rifle and camera. We need proof and allies." At the edge of the clearing, something moved. A jaguar stepped forward, followed by the honey badger. It was covered in soot, a streak of dried alien blood on its fur, but its eyes were sharp as ever. The jaguar dropped something at Maya's feet, a cracked alien data tablet. Maya picked it up, astonished. Dr. Mara whispered, "It is giving us information." The honey badger snorted as if bored and marched away, bees buzzing behind it like loyal soldiers. Maya powered up the tablet. Maps of Earth glowed on the screen, alien invasion routes drawn in red lines. In the corner were files labeled Phase 2 and planetary neutralization. This was the proof they needed. Back at the alien base, tensions rose like boiling water. General Krythar had regained consciousness with a bruised jaw and a bruised ego. He stormed into the command tent and confronted Zilok. "You are incompetent. Your fear of this creature has made us fools." Zilok stepped forward, eyes cold. "That creature is not our biggest threat anymore. It is the forest. It is alive, united." Krythar hissed, "Animals do not win wars." Zilok stared at him. "They already have." A younger alien lieutenant entered hesitantly. "Sir, the command ship has transmitted orders. If we do not secure the area in 2 cycles, they will deploy the superweapon." Krythar's mandibles twitched. "Good. Burn it all." Zilok turned away, his voice barely above a whisper. "And what of the humans?" Krythar glared. "Humans are ants. If they are in the way, we step on them." Maya and Mara knew they were running out of time. They needed to expose the aliens to the world. But without internet or communication towers, the only thing that worked was the alien device itself. Mara suggested reprogramming the data tablet to broadcast a signal. Maya agreed, though neither of them knew how. But the honey badger seemed to know where to go. It appeared again, motioned with its head, and walked off. Maya and Mara followed silently. The path led into a cavern hidden behind a waterfall. Inside, the walls glowed faintly with ancient carvings. Strange symbols. Half human. Half alien. At the center lay a stone platform, and on it, a metallic skull fused with vines. Mara gasped. "This is proof aliens have been here before." Maya touched the carvings, hands trembling. They depicted a warrior, small but fierce, fighting alongside animals against otherworldly invaders. The carving of the warrior looked suspiciously like a honey badger. The creature stood beside the skull, staring at them. Mara whispered, "Is it a guardian left behind by ancient civilizations?" Maya did not answer. She did not have to. She understood now. This was not just a random act of animal rebellion. This honey badger was part of something old. Something that remembered. Outside the cavern, alien reinforcements gathered. Drones flew overhead, scanning the area. Maya and Mara rushed to copy the tablet information onto a portable drive while keeping an eye on the entrance. The honey badger paced, its instincts sharp. It suddenly froze, ears twitching. A laser dot appeared on the cavern wall. Aliens had found them. Plasma fire lit up the waterfall. Maya and Mara ducked behind rocks. The honey badger leapt into action, hissing like a storm. It charged directly into the incoming soldiers. Plasma bolts scorched the ground around it, but it moved like smoke, unpredictable and relentless. It bit into armor, clawed at weapons, and barked in rage. Bees poured from cracks in the stone ceiling like a golden wave and attacked the alien's eyes and joints. Maya grabbed the drive and shouted to Mara, "Go." He hesitated but ran toward the back of the cave. The honey badger slammed into an alien soldier, knocking him into the water. The jaguar emerged from the shadows and pounced on another. Maya fired her rifle, hitting a drone mid-air. The cavern echoed with chaos. Meanwhile, above the ozone layer, the Varnak command ship prepared the superweapon. Energy gathered at the tip of a colossal cannon aimed at the Amazon rainforest. If fired, it would incinerate everything within miles. A timer blinked on their console. 4 hours until activation. Alien soldiers retreated from the cavern, covered in stings and scratches. Zilok walked among them, mask removed, eyes haunted. He approached Krythar. "If we do this, if we burn the forest, we will awaken something worse." Krythar sneered. "Worse than humiliation." Zilok looked at the jungle, quiet and dark. "Worse than extinction." Night descended, heavy and ominous. Maya sat beside the honey badger who lay quietly on a rock, chest rising and falling. Dr. Mara set the drive safely inside his bag. Maya whispered, "Tomorrow we send the signal. We tell the world." The honey badger did not look at her. It simply stared into the darkness where the trees swayed. The animals gathered silently around it like soldiers awaiting dawn. Far above, engines hummed on the command ship. The countdown continued. In the jungle, predators and prey sat side by side, united by something greater than survival. The honey badger stood and walked toward the heart of the forest. The jungle followed, ready for war. The jungle seemed to hold its breath as dawn approached, a pale mist curling through the dense canopy like whispered warnings from ancient trees. Animals that were once enemies now sat side by side under the magnetic pull of an unspoken command. The honey badger stood atop a mossy stone, staring toward the distant alien fortress where metallic structures disrupted the sacred rhythm of the forest. The countdown for the alien superweapon continued somewhere beyond the clouds, a silent clock ticking toward destruction. Maya Ortega pulled the strap of her backpack tighter, the data drive tucked securely inside. Dr. Mera adjusted his glasses, hands shaking slightly. Today would either save the forest or erase it from existence. Commander Zylok stood inside the control tent, his posture rigid yet conflicted. General Krythar entered, his heavy footsteps echoing on the metal floor. The command ship's transmission flickered on the central screen, a cold mechanical voice warning, 2 hours until planetary sanitation protocol is executed. Secure the mission or evacuate. Krythar's mandibles curled into a grim smile. Let the forest burn. Zylok said nothing. His thoughts returned to the sight of a honey badger standing in flames, unafraid, defending creatures that should have only cared about survival. He turned to his soldiers. Fortify the lower perimeter. And no more traps. The jungle does not fall to cages. Maya and Dr. Mera followed the honey badger through twisting vines and fallen logs, their path marked by silent animals clearing the way. Toucans scouted from above. Monkeys leapt ahead, cutting ropes and snapping branches to prevent traps. Even crocodiles shifted quietly in the riverbeds to allow them passage. The forest felt alive, not as separate creatures, but as one breathing entity. Mera whispered, "It is leading us to the signal tower." Maya nodded. If they could hijack the alien communication array and broadcast the files to every open satellite above Earth, governments would see everything. They reached a ridge overlooking the alien base. A towering antenna stood at its center, pulsing with green light. Aliens swarmed like ants, preparing for an evacuation or a final battle. A loud crackling sound broke the tense silence. A plasma beam shot into the sky, testing the superweapon connection. Birds scattered in panic. Maya turned to the honey badger. "Are you ready?" The creature did not answer. It simply walked forward. At the same moment, high above Earth's atmosphere, the Varnak command ship began charging the superweapon. Energy spiraled within the cannon, bright as a miniature sun. Officers moved with mechanical precision, unaware that the jungle below was preparing its own retaliation. Maya and Dr. Mera crawled down the ridge, careful to avoid alien patrols. The honey badger did not crawl. It marched straight ahead. It drew the attention of 2 guards who aimed their rifles, only for a swarm of bees to descend like a golden storm. The guards screamed and fell back, slapping wildly at their faces. Maya and Mera took the chance to reach the base perimeter. Inside the camp, alarms blared as animals launched their assault. Jaguars lunged from shadows, slashing cables and tearing apart supply crates. Monkeys leapt from trees, pulling down communication wires and throwing stolen grenades with questionable accuracy. The sloth, slow but determined, pressed its weight onto a large red button that triggered chaos somewhere in the power station. Commander Zylok watched the madness unfold, jaw tight. He could not deny it now. They were not fighting animals. They were fighting a force with unity and purpose. General Krythar roared into his communicator. Activate the lower shields. Deploy every drone. Crush them. Zylok hesitated, then ordered, protect the comms tower. The humans are heading there. Krythar paused, turning sharply. Humans. Here. Zylok nodded. They have evidence. Krythar spat, then they die with the forest. Maya climbed the antenna ladder, legs aching, heart pounding. Dr. Mera worked on bypassing the alien panel at the base, his fingers flying through unfamiliar symbols. He whispered frantic calculations, sweat dripping from his brow. Maya reached the top and plugged in the drive, praying it worked. The screen flickered to life. A prompt appeared in an alien language, waiting for authorization. She hesitated. Dr. Mera shouted, "Try the same symbol the honey badger scratched on the drone earlier." Maya input the symbol. The panel beeped once. Transmission initializing. Down below, the honey badger faced General Krythar. The alien aimed his plasma rifle, eyes full of rage and disbelief. "You are just an animal." The honey badger growled low, stepping forward. Krythar fired. The badger dodged, the beam searing the ground. It lunged, claws glowing with stolen alien energy, and struck Krythar's rifle, splitting it in half. Krythar roared and charged. The honey badger met him halfway, fury against pride, jungle against machine. The transmission reached the satellites. Screens across Earth flickered. Newsrooms, military bases, and civilian televisions displayed footage of alien ships, stolen drones, invasion plans, and a tiny creature dragging alien tech. The world saw everything. Maya felt her breath catch as the console confirmed, signal broadcast successful. Above, the command ship received an urgent transmission from Earth forces. Stand down or be destroyed. The countdown froze at 5 minutes. The superweapon hummed, but no beam fired. General Krythar fell to his knees, defeated, as the honey badger stood on his chest, glaring into his eyes before walking away as if bored. Krythar collapsed silent. Commander Zylok watched the transmission on his screen. Humanity knew. The mission was over. He ordered his troops to retreat. Evacuate. Leave the forest. Alien ships lifted into the sky, engines roaring. The jungle watched, silent and vigilant, until the last craft became a silver dot among clouds. The animals lowered their heads as if paying respect to a departing storm. Maya sat on a fallen log, breathing heavily. Dr. Mera laughed with relief, tears in his eyes. "We did it." The honey badger stood beside them, looking not at them, but at the rising sun. It sniffed the air, unimpressed, then walked toward the trees. The bees followed. The jaguar disappeared into shadows. The forest returned to life. Maya whispered, "Will anyone believe this?" Dr. Mera smiled tiredly. "They do not need to. The forest is safe." They watched the honey badger vanish into the undergrowth without fanfare, without a backward glance. It did not want thanks. It wanted peace. The jungle exhaled. The world above prepared for what came next. But deep within the heart of the Amazon, among roots and rivers and whispers of ancient stories, a small creature slept in its den, one paw resting on a broken alien rifle, dreaming of honey and quiet days. And for now, Earth was safe.